Today I'll be reviewing Season 4 of High School DxD. I heard nothing but bad things about the season. A lot of people did not like it. And after watching it, I finally understand why. This season starts off with a very confusing episode 0. And then episode 1 starts off with a build up to another important rating game that will take place later. We get introduced to a powerful character that Issei will have to defeat. And we learn about the power-up that will help Issei a lot, if he can find it. This season was a disaster right from the start. I always talk about animation style during my reviews, and this season is a perfect example why. The animation style for the season just did not look right. I know the anime studio changed, but that is not an excuse how weird it looked. It was obviously a different animation style from previous seasons, which is difficult to get used to at first. The problem here, though, was that not only was it different, it just didn't fit the series. The animation style from Season 1 to Season 3 made the girls in the series look hot and very sexy. You couldn't wait to see fan service of them being topless and teasing Issei. But the animation style in this season is more cute and wholesome. It is a better fit for a slice-of-life anime series where cute girls do cute things. It is not a good fit for a harem ecchi anime series like this. When I look at the female characters in this season, they just don't look hot at all. When there is fan service of them being topless, it's like, whatever. It doesn't really appeal to me. The animation style just does not look right. I watched this entire season, and I still could not get used to it. It just wasn't the same. It's disappointing Season 4 was made by a different anime studio. Now let's get to the other problem this season had, which was the plot. When you watch episode 0 of the season, you'll be left in confusion right away. Why are they replaying events from Season 3? And why is there a different outcome? There was no reason being given. And then I actually looked it up and realized several events from Season 3 were actually anime original and was not canon. It was just so confusing. After I understood what was going on, I thought episode 1 would be much better and easier to understand. But that was not the case. Episode 1 began referencing scenes that we never got to see before. At that point, it is like, what is going on? Did I miss watching an important OVA series? It turns out those scenes from the light novel were never animated before. This season was pulling a Tokyo Ghoul Re, basically referencing events that occur in the source material, but not once actually showing it in the anime. This really threw me off and left me confused. I am not a light novel reader, and never will be. So as an anime-only watcher, I could only watch in confusion, as this anime kept giving references to moments I never saw as an anime-only watcher. It's like they assume everyone that's watching this is a light novel reader. This is simply something I can't ignore. I don't know what's going on for many of these scenes. So at this point, what am I watching this for? The girls don't even look hot, and the plot is confusing to understand at times. The only good thing about the season was a rating game that took part in the second half of the season, and even that felt rushed. The fights felt very rushed, and it felt like the anime studio was in a hurry to show the final fight of the season. It was not giving other fights the screen time it deserved. It felt like the side characters barely did anything. This rating game was really only focusing on the fight between Issei and Saira Org, which, don't get me wrong, was a great fight. But when you barely give any screen time to the fights leading up to this, it just felt rushed. There were a couple of new female characters in the season, but they didn't feel like important characters, just side characters that will really only have an important role in Season 4. The only notable character was Issei's rival for a season, Saira Org. Now that was a cool and amazing character that you really respect as a fighter. Despite his strength, he was still humble and didn't treat Issei harshly. He was excited to fight against him. It's like, wow, for once an opponent of Issei is actually likable. I'm used to these cliche evil villains, but Cyber Org clearly wasn't that. The opening and ending song for the season weren't that great. The music throughout the season was pretty good. It was certainly tense during the Issei versus Cyber Org fight. The animation style for the season, of course, looked off and didn't fit the series. The animations during fight scenes, though, looked good. The attacks and transformations were nicely animated. I would still recommend watching the season if you're a fan of the series, because that is the only way to continue watching the series. If you don't watch the season, then of course you won't be able to watch Season 5 if Season 5 ever airs. But I still can't look past the odd animation style and the terrible transition from Season 3 to Season 4. The plot was too confusing to understand at times. I give this season a 4 out of 10.